the coast of Savannah?
Well, let's make sure we understand that those oil platforms, you're not going to see them anyway. They're going to be far enough away, and we'll make certain that there's enough of a buffer there to where you wouldn't see them. Secondly, this is going to take a long time. This is not like we find oil today and then we start. The platforms are popping up there in the next year or two. This is going to take a long time. Secondly, you know, there's probably going to be more oil off Alaska or some of the other areas than there is going to be off of the eastern seaboard. So I suspect that it's not going to be enough to where the business interests are going to want to be there anyway. I don't know that, but that's what my suspicion is.
Rockville, Maryland. Mike, Republican, go ahead.
Hi. Yeah, my question was going back to the Facebook that you were talking about initially. And so I wanted to get your thoughts about why this has now come to the issue of bringing hearings in Congress. And I mean, from what I've read, Facebook was working with the Obama campaign several years ago, and it was kind of touted as a modern way to engage people. And now it feels like everybody's now just attacking Facebook just because of this Cambridge Analytica that people say potentially may have helped Trump. So it feels a little bit cynical to me. I just wanted to kind of get your comments on it.
Well, I'm not sure that it was the political angle that Congress was concerned about. Personally, it's the release of private information. That's what we're so concerned about. And it's not just Facebook. I mean, let's face it, we had the problem with Equifax. We've had the problem time and time again. In fact, I've said that there are probably breaches that have occurred that we don't even know about yet, and we will find out about. So the impetus behind this was more the release of private information. Yes, we're concerned about fake news. We're concerned about foreign intervention. All of those things are extremely important. But I think the impetus for having Mr. Zuckerberg here was the release of private information. How much private information are you gathering? What are you doing with it? Are you selling it? How do you make sure that it's safe and that it doesn't get compromised? Those are the kind of things that we're trying to look at right now in Congress.
Another Mike, Oak Grove, Missouri, Independent. Go ahead.
Thank you, John. I've got a lot of questions, actually. I think my first one would be the Bears Ears National Monuments, how it was drastically reduced and that Orrin Hatch supplied Donald Trump and company with a map of where the coal and oil deposits laid, and the reduction almost exactly follows that map. And secondly, I'd like to ask your guest, if he is a conservative, how does he feel about Donald Trump spending $3 million every time he takes his frequent trips to Mar-a-Lago and his other properties?
Well, let's go with those two questions.
Well, first of all, I apologize, but I'm just not familiar with the first question, and I would I just don't feel comfortable in commenting on it when I'm just not educated enough in that particular area to comment on it. I'm sorry, I'm just not familiar with it. I will do my best to become familiar with it. Secondly, as far as the costs go, all of us are concerned about cost, and I hope the president is too, and I believe he is. Look, it's tough being president, and you need to get some time off, and I understand that, and we all understand that. You know, I think that the president, and I hope that the president does everything he can to contain costs, and I suspect he does, but you know, he deserves some time off. That's obviously a very, very tough job.
Do you think EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt is doing enough to contain costs?
Well, I don't know that he has in the past, but I suspect we've gotten his attention now, and that he is. Look, we all make mistakes. That's why they put erasers on pencils, and we're held to a higher standard here in Washington, and I get that, and I think all of us do. But you got to remember, we're real people, and we do. You know, we do require travel, and we try to get back home. We have families that we want to get back to, and it. You know, it does require us to travel.
So you don't think he should step down at this point?
Look, it's not my decision to make. It's between he and the president. And the president, he serves at the will of the president, and that decision will be made by the president.
Houston, Texas, William, Republican. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning. I just wanted to comment on conflicts in Syria. I know it's a little late on this, but wasn't able to get through earlier. But we seem to be obsessed with the atrocities, and justifiably, of course. But we need to see what's going on in Syria for what it really is, and it's a proxy between Russia. There's two proposed pipelines. It's been going on for years. One U.S. backed and one Russia, and the conflicts in Syria and Middle East in general are never going to end unless the U.S. and Russia can get to the table and start communicating with each other. As long as they're adversary to us, nothing's going to get done. It's hard to build a pipeline with bullets flying around your head, and it's going to stay that way unless they can come up with a solution. So I just wanted to get your comments on that, Congressman.
Well, first of all, thank you for your question. That's a very intuitive question, and I'm thinking along the same lines that you are. We say this is Syria, and listen, this guy is out of control. He has crossed the line too many times. I applaud the president for finally calling him out and saying, look, this is enough. And this president, I'm confident, is not going to put up with it. He draws a line in the sand. He means it, and that's one of the things that I like the most about this president. But I believe that you're correct. I believe this is more than just Syria. I believe that this is a conflict, if you will, a disagreement between Russia and the U.S. and that we need to have direct talks with the Russians and try to work this out, whether it has to do with the pipeline or exactly what it is. I'm not naive enough to believe that Russia's not behind this at some point.
Laughlin, Nevada. Michael, independent. Go ahead.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I would like to ask Representative Carter, how's the campaign cash contributions coming in, and are you working very hard on getting that campaign cash for your campaign? And would you welcome the great Donald Trump to campaign with you to show off to the great people of Georgia?
Yes, I would. I would be honored to have the president come to my district, and I think my district would be very receptive of the president. We had the vice president in Savannah during the St. Patrick's Day parade, one of the greatest parades in the world, as a matter of fact, the second largest in America. We're very, very proud of it. We were very honored to have Vice President Pence in Savannah at that time. And I would welcome the president to our district, and as I say, I think he would be well received in our district. Yes, campaign contributions are important. I have two opponents in the fall, our two opponents who are running in a primary, so I'll be facing one of them in the fall, and I'll need money in order to get my message out there, and I continue to raise campaign funds, and that's just part of what we have to do here.
Should President Trump fire Special Counsel Mueller?
Again, that's a very difficult question. First of all, I don't think he's doing anything at this point. I mean, how long has this been going on? I'm ready for it to be over. Obviously, the optics of him firing Mueller is not going to be good. But at the same time, I'm ready for Mueller to either put up or shut up. I mean, let's face it. What has he come out with so far against the president? Nothing at all. And it's time for this to end.
Do you think there needs to be legislation in Congress to protect the legislation to allow it to run its course?
No, I do not. Listen, thus far, I think the president has handled this fine. He hasn't fired him, and he's cooperated, and he doesn't have anything to hide. So, and Mueller has not found anything at all.
Senator Tom Tillis, North Carolina, in today's Washington Post, with a column, both parties need to protect Mueller. He says letting his investigation run its course is in the best interest of the country and is the only option to ensure that the American people have trust in the process.
It is running its course. I mean, he hasn't been fired yet. So do we need to legislate that to happen? I don't think we do. Let's just let it finish. But growing weary of it.